One of Mike Tomlin's phrases is, we want volunteers, not hostages. And that could be, from Russell's position, the opening to try to launch this effort to get traded by the Tuesday after Week 9. I would not advise that Russell Wilson attempt to do that. And to the extent there would be a pull-string doll or a book, there's a new phrase, a new chapter that Mike Tomlin gave us yesterday in explaining the decision to give Russell Wilson, after the win over the Broncos, even though he didn't play, what was described as a petty game ball. Here's Tomlin from Tuesday.
Mike Justin mentioned how rewarding it was to get the win in Denver for Russ. He said you gave out a petty game ball. Is that something that you've done often? Is it rewarding for you to get that win for him?
You know, none of your businesses, respectfully. There's certain things that go on among teams that I don't talk about. Whether it gets out or how it gets out is unimportant to me, and I'm not overly guarded against it. But it's just certain things as a leader that I talk to the collective about that I have zero intentions of sharing with the larger public, because it's about our collective and how we come together and how we appreciate and support one another. And, you know, I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it.
That's true. Well, that's true. I don't want to eat the hot dog. I would like to know what's in it. And sometimes it tastes pretty damn good, even if you do know what's in it. But, you know, a few weeks ago, there was an interview of Mike Tomlin by Sal Paolantonio before the season started, and he was asked if he called Sean Payton, the Broncos head coach, to talk about Russell Wilson before they signed him. And Tomlin was you got the impression, I did, that there's a belief in Pittsburgh, a belief by Mike Tomlin, that Russell Wilson kind of got the short end of the stick in Denver, that they knew or should have known the quarterback they were getting. They tried to jam the square peg into the round hole, and then they blamed the square peg for being square. And that's why, you know, if he ever plays in Pittsburgh, they're not going to try to make him something he isn't. They're going to celebrate what he is as a player, play to his strengths, avoid his weaknesses, and try to position himself to be successful. And I think that petty game ball is another manifestation of a fundamental disagreement with the way Russell Wilson was treated by the Broncos.
Yeah, I think so. I think and Justin Fields said it a little more colorfully. He said they did him dirty in Denver. And from a player perspective, whether it's a Steeler or not, players around the league, even if it's an opponent, they don't want a team messing with their money that way. And so I think most NFL players feel that way. Whether you think he was playing well or not, nobody wants any kind of salary interference. Let's put it that way. But I think this is the genius of Tomlin too. The petty game ball. He did a nice way of telling the reporter, he said none of your businesses, but he could have said none of your business. I'm not going to tell you what we do. But the genius of Tomlin and why his teams always kind of overachieve, at least in the regular season, is I think he figures out, like a lot of coaches do, okay, this is your issue. This is why you're here. I know your why. I know who you want to prove wrong, and I'm gonna push that button a little bit. I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna remind you why you're here, who didn't believe in you, or you thought you were a first-round pick and you went in the third round, or this is your second or third organization. Somebody told you you were too small or you couldn't play this position. And so I think he kind of taps into these various streams in the locker room of guys who have things going on, and they play like hell for him. They really want to satisfy him. They feel like he has their back. And so I think there are a few coaches in the league who just have an ability to figure out who they have in the room as individuals and play it to their advantage.
Well, and I also think, Michael, it's about finding a way to make someone happy who otherwise might be disgruntled. He could easily be disgruntled because he's not playing. So we go out of our way to do something for him that will balance out. And it's just basic human relations. It's about being sensitive to what other people are feeling. Russell Wilson is feeling disappointed that he's not playing. So this is just a gesture that might help counteract the idea that I can't put you on the field, but I can give you a game ball after we beat the team that did you dirty the last 2 years. You know, it's like a bank. we're not going to give you a raise. We're just going to make you a vice president instead. And I'd rather have the money, but all right, I'm a vice president. I can tell my friends when I got to the bars, I can tell people I'm a vice president, even though I didn't get a raise. So I think that is smart, because that staves off what could be that PR machinery that we definitely saw. I'm thinking back to the late weeks of the 2023 season. The Russell Wilson PR machinery definitely went into overdrive. He had his PR people, whether he did it directly or whether it was his agent or lawyer or whoever. There was a PR machine that was pushing the Russell Wilson version of how things went sideways with the Broncos. And I think he knows not a good idea to do it in Pittsburgh. And I think Tomlin knows the best way to avoid that is to not put him in a position where he wants to do it, because we do need him to be ready, because Justin Fields could get injured. The way he moves, and we saw it last year, that opened the door for Tyson Bagent. On any given play, any given game, they could suddenly need Russell Wilson to play.
Yeah, they could need him, Mike. I keep going back to it, though. What Arthur Smith wants to do, and think about the Steelers. I know you watched the Steelers from. I did too. Went to school there, so I've watched the Steelers for years and years, and just your mind's eye how the Steelers traditionally play. What they want to do. Good, strong, tough defense, versatile running game. Arthur Smith wants to do that. Who gives you a better chance of playing that style? Is it Justin Fields or Russell Wilson? Like, Justin Fields fits as a Steeler, as an Arthur Smith quarterback. Arthur Smith, this is really what he wants to do. Their challenge, you're right. Their challenge is to keep Russell engaged, even if this thing turns in a way that Russell Wilson doesn't expect or doesn't want, because his PR machine is elite. You ever notice that camera crews just happen to be there at the right time? He's doing workouts. I remember the workout he was doing. He was in Hawaii.
What a coincidence!
And it was like the right angle. It's like a video. He's turning the right time. HD cameras, overhead shots. They got the gym camera kind of sweeping by. It's a little much. It's a little much, and he's going to have to tone that down. It's not going to work in Pittsburgh.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.